it's not to denigrate the people and the problems that we have today, but we have a lot of free time and we look for problems. And I see people like there's constant hate on social media because it's more engaging around things are bad, it's all going to zero. But really, if you turn all that off, you go for a walk and you look at everyday life, it's pretty damn good. And you don't need to worry about some problem that's going on in a faraway country that you're not involved with, you're not from there, you don't have any, it's not your cause or whatever. It's like just live in your lane, like, look after your own kind of area, your backyard, your family, your community, live a much happier life.
Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Bergs podcast. I'm Ben, your favorite high school dropout and founder of Collective Shift. Alongside Ms. Bergs, your favorite MBA and COO of Collective Shift. Join us as we bring you world-class crypto research and strategies to help you dominate this crypto bull market, as well as behind-the-scenes view of us scaling a fully remote subscription research business in Australia. And if you like the podcast, we'd love for you to share it with a friend, leave a subscribe, follow us on your favorite podcasting app as we come to you each and every week, apart from the last 3 weeks. So sorry, team. I have been off gallivanting in Europe, and we're back. I miss Bergs.
Back, baby.
I miss Bergs a little bit. Not
You miss
heaps,
me a
but
lot, mate. You're messaging me every single day. You're sending me updates and photos, mate. You miss me.
I was like, Berg, just do a solo episode, mate. And he's like, nah, mate, I can't do it without you. I need you by my side to do a podcast. I'm like, okay, mate.
The true story is I was busy running the company and undoing all the destruction Ben had done over the last 6 months.
When you get like a shoelace, it's just super knotted and you're like sitting there trying to like undo the knot. Like that's what you're doing the last month.
Oh, I got so much tension in my back just from the few minutes we've been speaking already, mate. It's just coming back, mate.
Fuck this, man. I'm gonna create my own podcast called The Ben Show soon.
Yeah, no one's gonna watch it.
My mum will listen, mate. My mum will listen.
0 views.
Yeah, but we thought we'd
tell us about your holiday, mate. You've had a couple of weeks off. You've been a very busy and stressed out man, and you're like, I'm going to bug out. I'm going to go to Europe, and I'm going to have a great time with my mates. How did it go, mate?
It was epic, man. I was due for a break, man. At the end of late last month, I was cooked. Like I needed a spell, needed a break, and it was just good to get away and just forget about life for a second. And it was really eye opening. I actually made a tweet about it that I think you read, Bergs, and
it's a banger, mate.
Yeah.
And I'll read it out, man. Yeah. I saw this. I was like, hell yeah. So you said taking a few days off this past 2 weeks has reminded me of a few things. There's more to life than crypto. We live in a bubble in Australia. No one cares about you. Enjoy life with friends and family. Stop stressing over the little shit. Travel more. That is all. Amazing tweet.
Mate, it's just like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, when I travel, and it's probably the same for you and maybe a lot of other listeners, like when you travel, it's just like, it's the only time in my life where I remember memories, insights, and stimulated by the world. You learn new things and you're like, wow, this world is a massive place. And we get so caught up in all the menial bullshit that when you're in Greece and you're in Mykonos and you're on the beach having a few cocktails, having an amazing time with your friends, you're like, this is fucking what life's about. You know what I mean?
Isn't it amazing that we place importance on the things that aren't important just because we do them often and there's inertia? Things like work and achievement and whatever else there is. When you take that away, who are you really? What is important to you? And it is a struggle every day to remember those things, those insights that you have when you're free and you don't have tension, you're in holiday mode, the things that are important to your life, and carry them into your everyday life when you're back at work and have everything else around you.
It's so true. It's just like, because we have nothing else to think about or worry about, that's what we worry about. And this thing that the first part of that tweet was around like, there's more to life than crypto. Like I speak to so many people that are so caught up in the short term and what's happening today. Why is Bitcoin gone down 5%? Who gives a flying fahooza? Why it's down 5%? Like, there's so many different reasons why. It doesn't matter. Like, we've got to sit back and think about the long term. And I think, what I love about traveling is it just I don't know. You just realize how big the world is. Like, it's kind of scary. Like, I've done very, very little traveling of the world. Like, I think I've done like 5 or 10% I've traveled of the world. And that is so mind-boggling when you think about how big the world is, how much is going on, and how little you are in context to the world. Like, no one gives a flying fuck about you. And I mean that in a good way. Like, it doesn't matter.
We're so pumped up and we've got these giant egos and we think we're so important in our little bubbles, but you do not matter at all.
No.
Like, literally, no one cares about you. People on the other side of the world don't care about you. You'll be dead soon anyway. No one will remember you in 50 or 100 years. Why do we think we're so important?
I know. Like, why do we think that, you know, that email that guy sent today, and he was a little bit like blunt in the way he sent it, he's going to ruin the day? Like, who gives a fuck? Like,
exactly
it doesn't
right.
matter.
That was what I was thinking when you were talking earlier. Like, people think that Dale in accounts that sent you an angry email is occupying your brain. That person and that relationship and that interaction does not matter at all.
No.
Yet we let it consume us.
And I also think, like, that comment I made around, like, that we live in a bubble in Australia, what I meant by that is I feel as though we're so, even in crypto, we think the world revolves around Australia. Like, you go to an event or like an industry event and you're doing this talk and it's all amazing and, you know, it's a big ego thing and there's like 30 people in the room. No one gives a fuck. I tell you what, no one even knows where Australia is in America. Like, it just matters so little about like the things that we're doing, like that we put so much importance on ourself and our self-worth and our ego and like all this sort of stuff. And it's just all bullshit. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter. I don't know how to describe it. Like, you go to London, right? I went to London. I had a meeting with one of our partners in London in Mayfair. This was the most uncomfortably rich, like, city or town, suburb, whatever you call it, that I've ever been a part of. We went into this private lounge, bar, cafe. I don't even know what it was, right? Went in. They ID'd me. I had to tape over my cameras on my phone. Weren't allowed to use your phone in there. No video calls. It was very prestigious. Elon Musk was there like the week before with his 15 Teslas out the front. He had a meeting there. Costed a heap of money to be a member of this club, apparently. And that was the most eye-opening experience for me because this was super old money, like money that had been handed around for generations and generations. And I was walking around that town, going to cafes, and they literally look me up and down and squirm at me because I wasn't wearing the, you know, $20,000 jacket and didn't have the Rolex. And like, they're like, basically, who the fuck are you? Like, what's your last name? Who are you? What are you doing here? And it actually made me feel uncomfortable being there. And that was like just eye-opening to see like the amount of money that's in the world, the status of people. Everyone's playing these status games. And, you know, we just live in this little world down here. And it's just like, who cares?
It's wild. Even at EO over here, the WA Chan is like, we're not that rich compared to the guys over East. Then the guys over East aren't rich compared to like American people. American people aren't that rich compared to like crazy rich Asians. Crazy rich Asians aren't that rich compared to oil people that have like lots of oil money, right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And there's so many different levels. And you put out a tweet about how much a coffee cost in that place, Ben.
Oh, mate, it was nuts. I can't even remember how much it was, but it was sickening. I think it was like nearly $20 or $15 Aussie or something, like £10, which is like nearly cost of 20 Aussie dollars. And it was average coffee. Like, that's one thing about traveling. No one makes coffee like, you know, Australia or Melbourne. Like, it's just the best coffee back home. Everywhere I went in Europe was just bang average coffee. Bit of a coffee snub now, but man, it was just good. Like, so I did 2 weeks in Greece. Greece was unbelievable. It was just 2 weeks of partying, honestly. Like, it was just the wildest, loosest trip. We did Mykonos, Santorini, Eos, Paros, and one other. Can't remember the other one. And it's such a gorgeous place, like just a beautiful part of the world. Very expensive, a lot of beaches, a lot of beach clubs, a lot of just wealthy Europeans traveling there to holiday.
Boats.
Lots.
Bro, tell me about the food. How about the food?
Oh, the Euros, mate. The Euros.
Oh,
It was just like, nothing better than every day waking up hungover and having a gyros. This chicken, lamb, chips, the bread, the pita bread, mate, the tzatziki. Oh, the tzatziki, man. Like, but the bread was so soft and like it didn't make you feel carby or like bloated. It was just like, oh, I just can't even describe it, man. Like the gyros was sensational. We were having like 2 or 3 a day. It was just like,
let's go.
Epic.
That's my favorite food when I go to Melbourne. It's like, I just want Greek food.
Dude, it's just like unbelievable. And yeah, it was just like, Greece was beautiful. London's very. I feel like Melbourne's like a younger brother to London. Like London's massive. Like you don't really realize how. Like London has 4 airports. Like that's insane, right? And they're building a 5th. Like it's just the scale of it is just ginormous. And mate, the accommodation and like, so my mate Harry has a place there in Shoreditch, which is like the Prahran of London, right? Like a pretty nice place of London. He's paying somewhere around £3,500 a month, so 6,000-7,000 Aussie dollars a month. 2-bedroom, and this place is average, mate. Average at best. Like it is pretty small, tiny balcony. It's got like mold in some of the cupboards. Like it's pretty average. 7,000 Aussie dollars a month, mate, for this place.
They're just the dankness in London, where it's just like everywhere's like dank, small. It's
and it's gloomy there, man. Like it's just overcast. It's kind of just like rainy. Like it's just average.
That's why everyone drinks, mate. That's why there's pubs everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I went to a few of the pubs. Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know, man. I mean, I like it. I couldn't live there though. I couldn't live there.
Yeah. How'd you find being around all the kind of, history and old stuff and like, especially Greece?
To be honest, Germany, when I went to one of the concentration camps, that was full on. Like that was that sort of hit you in the face. That did. So I went to
after you read that book as well, like Happiest Man on Earth.
Yeah. And then I did a guided tour. It was called I can't remember what the Schwarzkopf or something. It was one of the main production concentration camps where they put the prisoners in to go and create bricks and wood and construction items. They use this word like death by labor or something like that, where they push these guys to the limits until they basically topple over. And they had the existing housing in there where they lived, and like 500 dudes in just this tiny thing, sleeping on top of each other, shitting on top of each other, pissing on top of each other. It's cold, no clothes. They get a couple of bits of bread a day and a little bit of soup, and they just work these guys to the core. And then they showed us where they had the death. I don't know what they called it, the death area, where they gassed them or killed them, and then they had the existing where they burnt the people. They had the existing ovens, and it's still there. I was like, fucking hell, man! Like, and this was only like what 70 years ago, like 80 years ago.
It's just still people alive that were in that and survived it.
And that just puts it into perspective, man. It's like one generation ago, people are out here getting like just fucking killed because of their beliefs. And we're out here, worried about, we're not getting called the right pronoun. I'm like, fuck.
Okay, so I think about this a lot, where if you think just in one generation, so my dad, he's passed away now, but he's born in 1931. So imagine being born in 1931, what your life is like, and then going through a war. He came to Australia. But even then, if you just look at the general advancement in the last 100 years, where you've got things like, lots of different surgical techniques, antibiotics, vaccines, cars, distribution, planes, internet, sophisticated like housing, you solve the food problem. You don't have to worry about food. You can get any type of food from anywhere in the world at your local shops. So we've gone and we've solved all the difficult problems that humans need, like food, shelter, working, money. We figured out money from gold and everything like that. And then now we're at a point where we do have big societal problems, but the problems are so small that we're focusing on smaller and smaller things like, pronouns. It is important to some people, but in the grand scheme of humans over time, compared to like food, shelter, war, everything else, it's really not that important. Like it starts to go down the curve.
Yeah. That's like, and again, I've got nothing against that. And my perspective on all of that stuff is that it doesn't, like, you do you. I don't like, whatever you want to do, go for it. Like, I really don't care. But I think some people, just there's a lot of short-term thinking. And I get caught in this trap as well. It's just like, we're so worried and caught up. The world's bad and like all this stuff's going on. And like, fuck, we're all doomed. It's like, well, no, we're kind of not. Like,
the world is the best it has ever been.
Yeah.
Like literally, it is the best. Like the opportunities I have now, 100 years ago, I would not have, right? I would be, even just because I'm a little bit brown, right?
Yeah.
I would be a lower class person. I would not have the opportunities I have now. My parents weren't high status, and nowadays we live better than even kings did. Like, even if you just say kings existed 100 years ago, we live way better than they did in just like one person's lifespan. And it's like, it's not to denigrate the people and the problems that we have today, but we have a lot of free time and we look for problems. And I see people, like, there's constant hate on social media because it's more engaging around things are bad, it's all going to zero. But really, if you turn all that off, you go for a walk and you look at everyday life, it's pretty damn good. And you don't need to worry about some problem that's going on in a faraway country that you're not involved with. You're not from there. You don't have any, it's not your cause or whatever. Yeah. It's like, just live in your lane. Like, look after your own kind of area, your backyard, your family, your community. Live a much happier life.
And one of the biggest things that gives me that perspective is travel. And I love it all the time. Like, even, so I got, where am I at the moment? I'm in South Korea, right? So I flew from London to South Korea and just like learning about new cultures and how people do life and just experiencing new things. Even like I ticked off one of my bucket list items in Germany. I went to an international football game when I watched England and Denmark, and it was unbelievable. Like, just everyone so passionate, so excited. Everyone's got their own songs. 70,000 people in a stadium. On one side, you got all the Denmark people in red with their chants. And then on the other side, all the English fans with all their flags. And it's just like the most captivating, like, thing. Sport brings the best and worst out of people. And it's just the most unbelievable experience. And like, that's what I realized that I want to do more of. Like, that's why, like, why do we do the business? Why do we work our guts out to do work and build a business and stress all the time, when if you don't enjoy that, or you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor, like, what's the point? And this was that third part of the tweet, like, that I spoke about around, like, no one cares about you. And this is like an interesting one, because it's kind of like, I didn't have an existential crisis, but it was like existential thinking around, like, at the end of the day, right, there's only one person that you can look after, and the only one person that you feel feelings about, and that's yourself, right? You go to your own bed every night on your own, and no one else is there, right? So at the end of the day, life is about trying to, in my perspective, it's about how can you increase your fulfillment and happiness and overall, joy of the world for yourself. And I think sometimes I get caught up in the trap of so focused on just the work and business that there's got to be the other side of that. Like, you're doing this to create an outcome to deliver something, right? And if you don't have the delivery of the thing and you're just grinding every day, well, then you sort of get in this pit of like burnout and sadness and fucking depression. And you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing that is supposed to help you live your life becomes a thing that you become obsessed with, and it ruins your life.
Mm.
And it's similar to investing as well, where a lot of people invest to make money. Why are you making money? So you can use it as a tool to enrich your life. But then people get in the mode of becoming frugal, making more money, having bigger and bigger goals, but they never go around the other side and spend that money to then live their lives. And just what you said before. So behind me, I've got these little Jack Butcher things that I printed out with little visualizations. And there's just, up above me, there's just a blank one, and it's just black. And it represents that no one is coming to save you.
Yeah.
And I look at that every single day, and no one will come and save you but yourself. Like, you are responsible for your life, the way you live it, and the direction you're going. If you write down your goals and what's important and work towards them, you'll live a much more fulfilled life. And if you don't get caught in the trap of, additional lines of, desiring and wanting and constantly moving the goalposts and being influenced, but use your directing mind and always look at what you want and what's important to you, and don't let the media and everyone else and your friends influence you, you'll live a much happier life.
And that's the hard bit, like not being influenced by other people, and also just being able to break out. And like at the time I was went to Europe, like I felt it was the worst time ever. It was so busy, so much stuff going on, like it was completely hectic. And then took a couple of weeks off and realized that, you know what, nothing really happened at all.
There's never a bad time. So I've got, how should I put this? A colleague that I do some additional kind of, volunteer work with, and they are burnt out, and they don't, they're a leader and they don't want to take leave, and they know they should. And it's a bad example to their staff, but they have that kind of feeling of like, guilt, obligation, little bit of fear. But when you take that leave and your business is in capable hands, it comes back to that point about you're not that important. Like, you do have importance in the world, but not all the time, not 24/7. And you do need to look after yourself. And when you do that, you realize things are okay.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And that for me, like it's probably been 2 or 3, like I've been on and off, but like, 2 or 3 weeks completely out and everything's been fine. Like business is fine.
Hey, of course it is. I'm running the business. The business is better than it's ever been, mate. What are you talking about? And it's actually worked really well because I can concentrate on the internals of the business, and you're still doing platinum calls here and there, closing sales.
It's actually worked really well. And there's no, you know what I love about no bullshit meetings. And guess what? Everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything just runs. Like it's been fine.
Yeah.
Now, mate, I want to dive a little bit deeper. You said something earlier about football matches. Tell me about being a football hooligan, mate. This is one of my dreams.
Mate, the English are wild, mate. It was the loosest thing I've ever experienced. So basically, for context listeners, I've got one of my best mates is English. He lives in Sydney, and he was over at the game and got me a couple of tickets. He had a couple of tickets spare, so I took one of them. So we went together. So we're in Frankfurt, and it's the day before the game, and he's like, "We're going to the Fountain of Hope or something. A fountain of, I don't know what it was. Right, mate. We go to the Fountain of Hope, right? Day before the game, roll up to this fountain, right, which is just this big area, shops around the outside, big concrete area, and there's this big fountain in the middle, right? Day before England aren't even playing, right? And the place is pumping, like thousands of English fans singing songs. It's legal to drink on the street, so people are just like neck and wine bottles.
How good is street drinking, bro?
Mate, it is loose, right? So everyone's just packing out these like little 7-Eleven stores, just railing all the alcohol in the stores for 75 cents each, going down to the Fountain of Hope, right? And just everyone is just going off chops, right? By about 10 o'clock, they'd taken over the city. So they're on top of the restaurant chairs, hundreds, thousands.
Taking over the city.
Singing songs. Like, you couldn't get through. There was no traffic getting through. It was completely bananas, right? Went to bed, next day, went to the game. And it was just unbelievable. The trains were packed. Everyone's singing songs.
Everyone's drunk from the night before.
Everyone just rolled through. Like, no one slept. Everyone's just blind. And, mate, it was unbelievable, right? So we're at the game. And we sit down for game first kickoff, right? And we're like, where's our mate? Our mate's gone. Like, where's he gone? Try to call him, phone's off. Right? Maybe we'll show up. Halftime, haven't heard from him. Full time, haven't heard from him. No idea where he's gone. We're like, fuck, what do we do? Haven't heard from him in 3 hours. Oh, maybe he's back at the hotel. We'll go back to the hotel. Get back to the hotel, right. If he's in here, amazing. If he's not, I don't know what we're going to do. But no, he'll be in here. Open the door. He's not there. 4 hours, completely gone, right? In the middle of Germany. And we're like, fuck, what do we do? We've lost him. Where could he be? Okay, what are the options? Maybe he's gone home with a girl. Maybe he's fallen asleep. He was pretty drunk, right? Maybe he's been arrested. Who knows, right? A couple of hours go by. We haven't heard from this guy in 6 hours. It's like 9 o'clock. He's got to fly home to Sydney the next day. And, fuck, what do we do? And we get a phone call. It's him. boys, where are you, mate? Where are you? I've been locked up. What do you mean you've been locked up? They took me. So what happened? So it turns out he got in a biff with a security guard at the game, clocked him, knocked the security guard out. 3 German cops pounce on him. And these German cops, mate, you don't want to fuck with these guys. These guys are big. Like, not like little Australian cops. Like, these guys are like fucking the Hulk, right? They got guns. They got fucking batons. 3 guys jump on him, drag him to the lockup, right? They get him in the lockup and they fucking strip him down to his underwear and just kick the shit out of him, spitting on him. They're hitting him, kicking him, just going off chops. They take all his money, leave him in there for a few hours, take his phone, come back, give him €10 back, and basically threw €10 at him. Basically said, "Fuck off, mate." They kicked him out. So he's
Straight
like
justice.
He's like an hour or two outside of the city in Frankfurt, middle of nowhere, right, where the stadium is. No phone, no nothing. €10 to his name and no dignity, and then had to wander back into the city and give us a call.
Unbelievable, mate.
Unbelievable. So crazy.
That's it. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, when you go to other countries and you get drunk and belligerent, it's not like here, right? Even London's pretty lenient. Like, even the cops, you can walk up, you can nick their hats, stuff like that. They won't bash you. But, like, man, if you muck around the wrong place, but clocking a security guard's pretty full on.
And if you're English, right, like, they're not going to like that. You know, they're not going to like you. So,
no. Oh, mate. But you got written down over here, mate. Oh, Ryanair. You flew on Ryanair. How was that, mate?
That was a disaster. So I'm in Germany. Went to Berlin on my own to go to the old concentration camp. Had to get back to London.
I love that about you, man. Where, you know, you're with your mates, you're doing stuff. You're like, nah, I want to go do this thing. I want to go see this thing. And you go by yourself and travel. Like, that is an amazing thing. Like, a lot of people are afraid to do that, but it's one of the best things, man.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I don't really think about it. I'm like, well, when am I going to be in Germany again? I really want to go. So, like, fuck it, let's just go. So, yeah, went over there, spent a couple of nights there, and then because it was so last minute, like, because I booked it like the day of, had to get Ryanair back, and mate, that is a shit show. It was just like first in, best dressed. Everyone's like up there trying to scan in, and then the plane's there, right? Everyone piles off the plane from the where they just came from. As soon as the last person comes off, they just open the doors, and then everyone's just like running to the plane to try and get a seat. And then we're standing there, and then old mate pilot rocks up. He just rolls up with his bag. He looks pretty hungover and having a ciggy out of his mouth, like he just got out of bed. He's like, well, "Where's the plane?" Like, I hope that guy's not driving our plane. Moves everyone over and just rolls up and goes in to fucking fly the plane. I'm like, "Oh, it's all over, boys. This is how it ends." And then they fly us to Stanford or somewhere in London, like one of the shitty airports. That was a disaster too. Just the whole place was just a wrecking ball. It was just the most, I don't know. It was a cultural experience, mate. We'll mark it down to that.
Have you seen Ryanair's Twitter?
I've seen their TikTok, mate, and I'm like, they just take the piss out of themselves.
Bro, but on Twitter, they just roast people. Someone's like, "Oh, I had the worst experience on Ryanair." And they're just like, "Yeah, why don't you start your own airline?"
Yeah.
Like, they just like roast people, man.
They don't care.
It's so good. Did you go through Heathrow?
Yeah, so, mate, when I arrived in Heathrow, shit show, right? That was just a disaster. So many people, no room, elevators were packed. You can't get a taxi out. Like, I was there for 2 hours, disaster. Because the train was down. So I was going to get the train. But on the way out, mate, flew business on Etihad, and it was unbelievable, mate. Fast track check-in, fast track security, so didn't even go through the main security line was packed. Fast track your own security lane, went in, check in, got my bag, scanned it, all fast track. Mate, I was in the lounge, no shit, within 10 minutes, I reckon, of arriving. It was
There's actually a little hack that Levels was saying that not many people know about. Well, not a hack, but a little tip where there's companies that offer this service even if you're not flying business class. You pay them like $20-30. Someone will meet you at the door and like take you through. Like, you get priority access. You can pay for it at the majority of airports.
And honestly, it's probably like when you're traveling often, it's probably worth it. Like, it's
and go through major airports. That's exhausting. It's annoying. It's the worst. Even like London, like when you get to Heathrow and the planes are like circling in that corkscrew, and then you finally go down and then you go through, or even when you're going through security, you got to take your shoes off and all this sort of nonsense. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. But no, it was good. On the way out, it was good. So very, very lucky to, fly business because it was just so much easier.
Bro, we've got 2 more places to cover off. We've got Amsterdam and Korea. Tell me about Amsterdam.
Mate, Amsterdam.
Do you even remember it, bro?
Look, Amsterdam. Look, it's pretty interesting. I had a friend there, so we caught up with her, went out for dinner. She sort of showed us around. Everyone's like riding on bicycles. It's kind of like, the history's kind of cool. Did the red light district, mate. Sort of just had to tick that box.
How was it?
I mean, look, it's not for me. It was pretty fascinating. But it was just full of like creepy dudes like walking up and down the street. And it was just like,
so you're right at home then?
Felt right at home, mate. So we're like, it was funny.
Go on, tell the story, mate. Tell it.
I'll tell the story. So I'm with Harry, right? So we're gonna go. We're like,
yes,
okay, let's go look at one of these shows, right? Well, we're gonna tick the show off, right? So we're in the line of one of these shows, adult shows, right? And there's a guy in front of us. Right? We're waiting in line, but turns around, he goes, "Do I know you?" I said, "Nah, mate, you don't know me." He said, "No, I know you. You're the crypto guy." I said, "Nah, mate. You're not
bro,
me,
you
mate."
got made in the line.
I said, "Not me, mate. I got made in the line, right? I hadn't got made anywhere, and I'm in Amsterdam." And he goes, "You're the crypto guy." I said, "Nah, that's not me, mate." He said, "Nah, yeah, it is you." I'm like, "Nah, not me."
International thought leader Ben Simpson.
I'm like, "I don't know what crypto is, mate." He's like, "Well, if it is you, I like your stuff." I'm like, cheers, mate.
That's all it took, one compliment, mate, and you've blown your cover.
I'm like, we're both done, mate. You're in the line, I'm in the line. It is what it is. So, yeah, it was funny. But I don't know, man. The show was just like, it was kind of uncomfortable. And then we just like, I don't know, we got a kebab and went home. So, I mean, Amsterdam was cool, but I wouldn't go back in a hurry.
Yeah.
And then what was the last place? What haven't
Korea. So tell me about, because all of those European countries, I think they'll feel kind of, I guess, comfortable. There's a lot of English spoken there. Maybe not in Greece. I've never been. I don't know. But I would imagine Korea is wildly different in terms of culture and amount of English that they speak there.
Yeah. So
even some of the receipts. So okay, before you go on, Ben's literally like in our finance channel, he's put some receipts from Korea. And I'm like, yeah, good luck, ATO. It's just like all this Korean writing. I don't even know what the fuck it is.
It's so funny, mate, because obviously with the new bookkeeper, like we've got to be like dialed in on these receipts. I never usually keep receipts. I'm like, well, fuck it, okay. Here's the receipts, guys. It's not even in English. It's not even in that currency. Look, yeah, standard me, mate. I just rock up. Haven't even looked. I don't even know where I'm staying. Right? I can just rock up and just sort of figure it out. Get in, get to the airport. No one really speaks English. I'm like, great, awesome. Trying to find a taxi. Number one rule, never get the guys out the front going, taxi, try and find the taxi rank. Get in the taxi rank. Mate, this guy, no shit, was doing about 150 kilometers an hour, switching lanes. Like, this guy is full throttle, hauling ass, like God speeding from the airport to where I was staying. And Google Maps here doesn't actually work. So it only shows you public transport times. It doesn't actually tell you how far things are away for some reason. It's super weird. And then the ATMs don't work for international cards, and then no one really speaks English. So I'm rolling around, mate. Next thing I'm trying to get some money out to pay with cash because some places don't take card. No one really speaks English. I'm like, well, fuck, what have I done here? I'm like, I'm a bit out of my depth here. Like, this is not what I realized. Found a place. Could get a maximum like $100 worth out, which was, not much, but mate, end up finding a Korean barbecue place. But everything shuts between 2:30 and 5 o'clock. So I'm rolling into these places. They're like, no. I'm like, food. Like, no. Break. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. Sorry. So no one works between 2:30 and 5. I'm like, okay, where am I supposed to eat food? Anyway, I found a place, mate, this Korean barbecue here. Oh, the steak, mate, is just like next level. They come and cook it for you too. Like, so good.
Incredible.
But I've got the conference today. I'm speaking tomorrow. And yeah, mate, we got, so my videographer, Daniel, so he's a mate of mine. He's flown in from Vietnam I've just paid for his flights and accommodation, but he's not charging for his time. He just wants to get some work experience. Yeah. So we're doing like a YouTube video, like behind the scenes for this week, which should be fun.
That's awesome.
So it should be some good content. Yeah.
That's really good, man. And mate, whenever you travel, there's always a disaster, mate. I want to hear if you just rocked up and there's like an absolute clanger, or has it gone relatively smoothly this time? Have you learnt your lessons, mate? Or have you just rocked up going, where am I? This doesn't work. I've lost this. My luggage hasn't rocked up. ATM ate my card. I'm getting arrested again.
You know what? I don't think I've had any major clangers this week, which has been this month, which has been good. I might have started to learn my lessons, mate. Like
You're growing up, mate.
I think I
thought you were like unteachable and ungovernable, but apparently you can learn, mate.
No, I think I'm getting there. Like I only lost my watch and sunnies once, and then someone found them on the beach in Greece, and everything else has been pretty good, mate. From memory.
That's awesome. And out of all the places you've traveled to, which one would you want to go back to again?
Greece. I love Greece.
Yeah.
Eos was my favorite island. Like that was epic. Beach clubs, water sports. We did the biscuiting. Yep. So that was wicked. And we went around to these bars in Eos, and you could win these jerseys. So they had these wicked merch.
Bro, yeah.
So, but to get them, you had to do 7 shots. There's 7-shot packages. So €40, and you had to do 7 shots. So we were just trying to collect, these singlets, but you obviously had to do 7 shots. So I was like, fucking hell. So,
and mate, you sent me a video of you at a bar.
Mate,
do you remember this video?
Do I remember? I'm still sore. So
you got to tell everyone.
So one of the bars, right, in Eos, to get the free merch, you had to have a slap shot. And basically what you do, you go up and you have a shot, and then there's this chick over the bar that just slaps the shit out of you. Now, not just like a little pussy tap, like a fucking proper slap. Like I was bruised up. So you basically take this shot, and then she just clocks you over the face. And it's not just like fingers, it's like she's palming you. Like she's just got to palm in your jaw. I was like, whoa, Jesus.
It was literally like when I saw it and I heard that sound, it's like, those guys that do that like slap competition where they hit each other in the face. It was dead set like that. And you're just like, whoa. And you could hear you and the slap over the massive crowd.
Yeah, it was whacked, mate. So anyway, they had some cool bars, got some merch. It was just a good time. Met some cool people. Greece was a good time. Greece was fun.
That's awesome, man. Mate, what a trip.
Yeah, epic trip, mate. Keen to do some more travel, man. I think that's what I realized. I just want to keep building the business, keep working with people. I mean, crypto is so good, right? You can work with anywhere in the world. So
I also think now we're maturing as a business and we're structuring it to live our lives a lot better. We don't have to do everything. A lot of the things are sorted.
Yeah.
And especially in your role, you can travel because the activities you're doing can fit in with that.
100%. Yeah. And even like this week in South Korea, going to get a bunch of content done. Got some platinum calls, speaking at an event. It's good fun.
Brilliant, mate.
Wicked, man. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Sorry we took a few, 3 weeks off. We need a little bit of a spell, but hopefully you filled in. You know why we've been away, and we'll be back to our regular programming from here on in. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'd love for you to share it around if you liked it, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, champions.